This is Channel Attitude. Your voice, your right, your freedom.
Hello everyone and welcome to the show where after the collision we sift through
the wreckage.
the wreckage. I am your host Jimmy T. He is the best in the world and my co-host, but not only that, he's the best in the world when it comes to Capcom versus SNK. There, I said it. He is Jamie the Vet Williams. Vet, what is cracking? After the Friday's debacle with me, I'm a little flabbergasted.
Well, I mean, best in the world isn't just a nickname that I stole from several other people. It's a way of life. You can't call yourself that if you're not prepared to defend the title, right? So,
absolutely, man. But I had a lot of fun, and thank you for that. That was good.
Yeah, good time. Also, and guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, then you can just go ahead and if you go over to my Twitch channel, whatever the video, on demand section, you can watch on Twitch. You can see Jimmy and myself face off, and maybe I'll just take that portion and I'll upload that to a YouTube channel as well, just so people can watch it there. Because I know some people can't watch Twitch. Like Airbend Shlomo, like in his country, it's not really a thing. So That's why he has to use YouTube and things like that. So maybe I'll do that later if you guys are that interested. But yeah, it was a good time. It was a fun time was had by all. And thank you to Jimmy for actually showing up this time. You're only 2 weeks late, but that's all right. I'm sure it was worth the anticipation for the people that were able to tune in and watch. But thanks everybody for, coming and making us all have a good time.
Well, funny enough, it happened at the appropriate time too, because it was Fyter Fest week. So there you go, right?
Right.
So it was meant to be on that date. But before we get moving, cold-blooded, man, already with a $5 super sticker before the show even started. Thank you, my friend. And I know you tuned into the brawl that done it all on Twitch at Opinion Haver, just quietly. At Opinion Haver everything, by the way. And thank you once again for the $5 super chat, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you everyone else that's joining us. And just before we do get into all the news, Vet, and stuff like that.
Well, I also want to say, cold-blooded, like, this is a good weekend for that, too, because this is where the world got a taste of Mr. Iguana as well. So,
well, that's what I was just about to bring up, because Chris Whelan has already got the question for us. And he says, sign Mr. Iguana and push him to the moon. Stat, that guy is the best. There's a lot of hype on Mr. Iguana. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I feel about him personally. It was the first time
you
I've
do.
seen him.
You know how you feel. I can see on your face how you feel.
I'm not the hugest fan of Mr. Iguana, but I can see all you guys clearly are. But that's just me. But Vet, how do you feel about Mr. Iguana?
I mean, he's a rib, right? Come on.
Let's be real. The iguana is what's over more so than himself, in my opinion. The puppet.
Puppets are over, right? No, I mean, look, this is what I guess. This is what people kind of misunderstand. You hear the word. I mean, I see people say things. I don't think they really understand what they mean, right? This is one of those cases where you hear people say the words like, so-and-so is an attraction. Oh, they're an attraction. They're an attraction. Okay. But you're just saying that. You don't know what that means. Mr. Iguana, Mr. Iguana is the definition of an attraction, because you cannot take a guy like this and book him week to week. Like, you're not going to just watch Mr. Iguana on SmackDown every week. It's just not, you're going to get tired of it immediately because it's only going to go so far. But for special events, it would be cool to see the WWE use him like for a Royal Rumble, for example, you know, where he's only going to be in there for like a couple of minutes and then get out. Like, but people will get excited, like those type of things. But this is not a 9 to 5 daily type of thing. It's too ridiculous. You actually have people selling the puppet. Like, we can't do that. Lince Dorado gave the puppet a Spanish fly. Like, are you fucking kidding me? How embarrassing.
Dude, the memes are classics though, man. Have you seen the iguana getting the Money in the Bank shit? That's a big Ray, for example. That made me laugh. I mean, shit. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. He's 100% an attraction. I get how people like him, but for me, look, there's a place for that type of shit in pro wrestling. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it fits WWE's model, if you know what I'm saying, as a whole. I mean, you got R-Truth, obviously he's back, for example. We'll get to that in a minute. And, you know, you got guys like that, but we don't need a friggin' iguana roaming the WWE locker room, do we? A puppet one, no less.
Yeah. No, but I also, to my point, I don't know how does that work on, you know, AAA weekly TV? Do they book him every single week, or do they just bring him in sometimes? I assume he was a big part of Worlds Collide this weekend, because you would see him even sitting in the NXT audience and stuff, so they were getting people ready for his, you know, big debut, even though it was just another 6-man. But like, he got his spots in, but like, so people were ready to see it. And then they saw it. So that's cool. Like, that's the perfect way to do it. But like the follow-ups, I don't know how often they use him. Like, is he like a main featured player on their TV, or is he only come in sometimes in AAA also?
I don't think he's a main player, because funny enough, Vet, I was actually watching a few things on AAA this past week. For whatever reason, I just started clicking on their stuff. I got to say, Latin Lover is really over still, man, just quietly, even though he's been in the business for a long, long time. But he's mega over. But yeah, I didn't see no Iguana or Mr. Iguana for that matter. I mean, it is what it is. But Chris has got a response, because he says, wrong answer, Vet. I will never tire of Mr. Iguana. Merch is king in WWE. R-Truth just proved that. Ha, ha, ha. Two different guys, though, Chris. Come on now.
You can't, with all due respect, Mr. Winland, you can't say never after you've seen him one time. You don't know if you'll tire of him yet. Give him 200 more times, and then we'll see.
Cold Blooded says, I can't wait to see what a Mr. Iguana promo looks like.
Yeah.
It'll be riveting.
I've never seen him say anything. He sticks his tongue out a lot.
Oh, boy. Well, that's a good segue to Ron Killings, apparently, now. And I just want to clear something up. The whole internet is going banana, right, for example, about him being released, and, you know, the fan base got him back, which is probably true. But I just want to point out, he was never released. As a matter of fact, we don't even know if he's re-signed. He's still got 2 weeks left on his actual contract. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. He even put out a tweet saying something like no job or some shit like that. That's probably obviously a work. But we don't know his status. We don't know if he's re-signed or not. But the truth is, pun intended, he still has a couple of weeks left on his contract.
Well, leave it to the internet. Are you telling me the internet overreacts? I had no idea. I had never seen such behavior before. I thought it was a civil, you know, place full of decorum and gentlemen and ladies. Absolutely. Like I had no idea that people could just get up in arms over things. Never seen it happen. Yeah. So that's the thing. Even, you know, any of these things, people are going to jump to the conclusions they want to jump to because they don't know. This is what we've been trying to tell you. Like, you don't know. You really don't know. And even the people that say they know, a lot of the times they don't know. Like, for example, the people that, I don't know, have sources. Yeah. You know, they don't even know when they're getting worked by their sources a lot of the time. So that's why you can't even trust the people that claim to be credible about things. So the thing about R-Truth is, funny enough, isn't that when we first heard about R-Truth, isn't the first thing that we both thought was like, well, it might be a work. Like we didn't say,
we said it.
We didn't say, oh, this is definitely a work. You just watch. And we didn't say, oh my God, how could you release R-Truth? We didn't go to one end of the extreme, but my first instinct was, well, if I see him do a public tweet, I'm thinking it's a work somehow, but we'll see what happens. And we said that if he was released, it was kind of unfortunate and they could definitely use R-Truth better. We didn't go off the deep end and start, like making fools of ourselves for the whole world to see, taking emotional stances on people that we never cared about until that week.
Exactly. It's true, man. No, and that's the truth. And the reason why we didn't elaborate more, as a matter of fact, we're getting annoyed by everyone telling us over and over and over again that he got released, is because we didn't know nothing at that point. So there's no point of talking about it, acting like we know when we don't. So, and plus we didn't believe it at first. Like, to be fair, we didn't. Straight up, we really didn't. We're getting annoyed by everyone saying it. So yeah, we did the right thing, Veb, by not even elaborating on it. Let the smoke settle, obviously. And we did say it could be a work. Yeah,
we said that. To that point, could it have been like, okay, R-Truth is not getting his contract renewed, and they put out the public tweet, and then after the fan outcry, they said, oh, well, let's re-sign him, and then we'll just say, oh, it was part of the plan all along. Of course that could have happened, and it may have even probably happened. But also, you have to know that with R-Truth and these relationships, R-Truth has been in the WWE off and on for like over a quarter of a century, it feels like. So
close to 25 years, Ved.
Yes, I'm sure that he has good relationships with everybody there. And he probably, smart as he is, even though he plays dumb, but sometimes it takes a real smart person to play dumb correctly. I'm sure he was like, well, what should I do? I could put out this tweet. What do you think about this? And then they'll say, oh yeah, that's a great idea, because then we can bring you back at Money in the Bank and do this spot or whatever. Right? Like, they could have planned it like that. Even if they thought they were going to release him, they could have planned the whole thing like that, right? Like, if R-Truth is still not getting his contract renewed in 2 weeks, that doesn't mean that he couldn't have done all this all along. Like, well, before I go, what if we do this? And they're like, okay. Or what if they pitch it to him? Hey, before you go, what if we do this? Okay. Like, all these things could be true, or they could be partially true. It's like, but people for some reason want to jump to conclusions, and that the whole reason for that, the whole reason that everybody actually, and this is the lesson I want everybody to take from this, because I want you to understand really how Earth works, okay? The reason that everybody does these things, the reason that people ever do anything, where they're posting something, polarizing, or whatever, they are just trying to get engagement. They're saying, hey, look at me. I have a profile. I have a career. I'm trying to get clout. I need attention. So I'm going to make a comment about this. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to say this thing. I'm going to take a stance here. It's what everybody does, whether they're trying to sell products, whether they're just trying to sell their own websites or their own accounts, or whatever it is that it takes to get noticed in this world, because everybody realizes that there's people that can make lots of money on social media for doing basically nothing. Everybody wants to do that. Now that we all know that, hey, let's all go chase that clout. Let's all go get those engagement. Let's go get those clicks. I'm going to post something that's going to piss everybody off, because that means a bunch of people are going to come in the comments and start arguing with me, and I'm going to rack up the engagement. Right? Like, that's why people are doing all of these things. You think the dirt sheet writers care if they're wrong? No. Because everybody that goes on there to tell them how wrong they are is giving them attention, is giving them clicks, is giving them views, it's giving them ad revenue and all these things. So you're all getting worked, right? So just don't get worked is the thing.
Facts. Well said. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to talk about the work part about this whole truth thing, the signs were even there. I mean, you go back to Saturday night's main event when he was Ron Cena, for example. Even when he was wearing the shirt, it hinted like he was leaving. Like, I felt like that was done also by design, you know what I mean? And then all that happened, and now he's back. I mean, and I say that lightly, he's back, right? But yeah, you said it correctly, man. They could have totally worked everybody. And if true, they absolutely did it perfectly. Because like you said, I can't think WWE is that stupid. Surely, man. You know what I mean? I felt like they really planted the seeds and are one step ahead of all, the fan base pretty much. But look, I don't know if he's re-signed or not. I assume he has. If it was even true that he was out of contract, to be fair, I don't even know.
Yeah, right? Because remember, again, all these people always report on these things, right? All these sources and these reports, and never once do they ever report a dollar figure. Never once do they ever report an end date for a contract. They just say, contract coming up soon, whenever that is. So
ridiculous, man.
Read between the lines.
Well, J12 says, what's up, Hermano? He says, good point. They're all the same. Vince Russo put over Dr. Chris, but I think Dr. Chris is another Sean Sapp. Dr. Chris.
I don't know. I can't vouch for Dr. Chris one way or another. I can just say that I know that people that have sources, the sources they have, don't always know every single thing that's going on in the company. They just maybe know what they've heard so far. So if they only hear one piece of it, then they may not have the whole story. So whatever they tell their person, or if they're trying to keep something under wraps, they might give, the reporter, whoever the reporter is, they might give them something that they can say, but they may not tell them everything because they're supposed to keep some secrets for the company. So like they'll say, okay, you can run with this, but this is all you can say right now. And I'm not going to tell you the rest because I don't want that to get out and whatever. So it just, it's not even a question of like, sometimes it's not even a question of the credibility of the people. It's like, it's just a question of, even just because you have a source doesn't mean your source spills guts on every single thing.
The only sauce that spills is tomato sauce, Vet. That's what type of sauce.
Well, that's a pun. Have. That's a pun that only works with your accent, Jimmy.
Because I said sauce.
Yeah, we pronounce the R's in source. You don't. So
yeah, but you guys don't pronounce H's for some reason.
I know. Well, touche.
What's up with that? Touche, exactly.
Hey,
there you go. Nice. But what was I going to say? That kind of threw me off. Actually, did you hear about the war that started now between us and the Wrestling Observer? I don't know if you noticed what was going on Twitter between.
Maybe a little, but
Meltzer went off on Bin and Russo, obviously. About the Vince McMahon debacle and everyone talking about how he could be buying the company back. Vet, I don't buy it really, right? I mean, he might if he gets the Saudis to invest, but is everyone? And I hate to say this because I'd want this to be true because it makes things interesting. But is it realistic? Let's be real here, man.
Realistic. Is it feasible?
Or is it feasible? Right, that's a better.
Is it feasible? Is it theoretically feasible and logistically feasible? Yes. Does it make any sense? Not really. So, I think. How do I put this? How do I put this diplomatically?
Yeah.
I think people carry narratives along, and they have to stick to their narratives. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
I totally understand that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know, but it's brewing all over the internet. As a matter of fact, they're quoting even a lot of our shit. Like, I'm talking about HMG as a whole about what we've been saying, which is good for the clicks, right? Like you were saying before.
Exactly. What we say about the engagement.
Right, exactly. So it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. The point is it's getting attention on our end, which is a good thing. So I couldn't care less if it's right or if it's wrong, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We all have our narratives.
Right. Exactly.
My narrative is look at her. I think that's a very positive narrative.
Absolutely.
That doesn't hurt anyone and definitely tries to help people, and we've been looking at them all weekend, big spotlight for Stephanie pulling all that duty on this weekend, like 2 double shot one night, 2 different companies.
That's crazy,
Julia
man.
Getting fingers on that briefcase. Ooh, close.
Absolutely. Actually, I was going to ask, Vet, are you guys, you and Big Ray, covering When Worlds Collide?
Nah.
Is that part of the NXT?
I don't think so. I don't plan on it.
Okay.
I don't plan on, but we could chit chat about it, but I don't have like a full breakdown. I just kind of skimmed through it.
I was asking because, I was thinking of reviewing it, but if not, then I'll leave it to you guys. That's why I was wondering.
If you can find the time, go ahead. I don't think you'll be stepping on our toes.
All right, that's all. That's why I don't touch NXT PLEs, man. For that reason, obviously.
Labrat says WWE was a bakery this Saturday. No shit. Let me tell you, man. I only watched that. I only watched the Money in the Bank women's match.
Wow.
For obvious reasons,
right.
But like, that was the most beautiful Money in the Bank match I've ever seen. You had 6 of the hottest, most diverse women that's ever been in one place. Well, actually, 6 women and like it was like 5 women and Roxanne, who's kind of like the younger sister, like the cute younger sister. Not really the same like hotness level, but like when we're talking about Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Stephanie, Julia, Rhea, oh my God. Oh my God. Rhea had her whole ass out.
I know.
Like, that's the shortest those tights have ever been on her. Crazy.
Boy. Yeah, it is crazy. And like Labrat said initially at the start of the show, hey, everyone, Worlds Collide Steph and Lola Magic gave me diabetes with all that cake, so I'm testing diabetic medicine. As long as you're still alive, man. And like you said, it was a bakery this past weekend. And another busy week of wrestling, man. It's hard to keep up with all this, but...
Yeah, why did they do this?
I don't know, bro. It's killing me, man. I'm not gonna
WWE double booked a town, for fuck's sake. And then you still had Against All Odds from TNA?
Yeah.
You know,
why
like,
do they do that too, man?
I don't know, man.
And why is it, because you're the TNA guy, why does it feel like TNA's got a pay-per-view every second week?
They do. It's like they have their main big pay-per-views, like the Bound for Glories of the world and stuff, and then you've got these weird secondary pay-per-views like Under Siege and shit. They don't need to do all that, man.
And that's a pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically.
Jesus Christ, man. Because that's one thing I keep noticing is like TNA pay-per-view every other week, and I'm like, that's weird, man.
MLW had a show, Labrat is reminding us, like...
Yeah, MLW had also had a friggin' show. Great.
No, they're used to getting ignored, but just for the sake of inclusion, they had a show.
I thought the name of the game was to make money, not friggin' everybody put on the show on the same day and everyone chooses what to watch.
I'm like, can you guys just make some phone calls to each other and work this shit out like a year ahead of time? Like, please.
Sucks.
Can we all just get together? This is why we need the NWA back, like the real one, not the Twitter one. We need the real. We need all these guys to have a meeting. We need to have Triple H, Tony Khan, whatever that TNA guy's name is. You all need to have meetings together where you meet like every so often and be like, okay, we have to figure this out so that, you know, at the very worst, we just have one thing every weekend, right? Just one thing every weekend.
We might get a new Super Clash like back in the day, possibly with all that, if that was to happen.
I'm not even asking for that. I'm just saying, give us a break. You know?
I know, bad. It's true, man. And J12 says, how do we transition to another 4 hours of AEW? That's a good question, but we'll do it. So don't worry. As far as other news goes, I don't know. Wait,
real quick, before we move off all the events of the weekend, Labra had a good question. Was it smart to put Worlds Collide on YouTube? I thought it was a good idea. Yes, you are right. It was a good idea. Look, if you ever want to sell AAA as a commodity, you got to get them out there. And this is like, it's just like something of like, you get the first thing free and then you got to pay. Like, sample it, see if you like it. As of when I was watching it on YouTube, it looked like they had like 2.5 million views at that point.
Yeah,
so,
man.
And when I clicked on it, because I didn't know they were going to do that. And when I went to YouTube on my YouTube app, I saw it was live. So I clicked on it and they had like about 500,000 people watching it live.
That's crazy.
So It wasn't just like, oh yeah, 2 million people clicked on it and then clicked off it.
No.
Like there was a live viewership of over like 450,000 people just at the time when I clicked on. Now it may have gotten even higher at different points in the show, but so yeah, I would say that was probably pretty good.
Well, I'll give you another example. When Saturday night's main event aired here in my neck of the woods, I know it was on NBC, obviously, and Peacock for the US, but for Europe and Australia, it was on YouTube Live. And the last I checked, it was at 2 million. That's just without the US, bro. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and that's pretty telling. So I don't understand. And this proves about the argument, the whole ratings bullshit, right?
Like the Raw Netflix thing?
Yeah, I hate this fucking like narrative too, man. How everyone wants to bash. Oh, look, it's at their lowest ever and blah, blah, blah. But you know what's funny about that? Every time, you know, when you get the top 10 most viewed shows of the week sort of thing, Raw was number one for me, man, for example. I mean, is it really doing that bad? I mean...
You know, also, it's the only live thing on Netflix.
Right, exactly.
So, like, you really have nothing to compare it to in that sense. But, I don't know, man. The whole thing seems fishy to me, but that's one of those things where I can only put it out there that seems fishy. I can't definitively say one thing or another, but I don't have a narrative to put forth. All I have to say is that it seems like it's impossibly low.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree with that too. Speaking of WWE, though, WWE officially confirms WrestleMania 42 taking place in Las Vegas in April 2026. I'm sure you don't really have much to say about this, but it's obvious that we knew this was going to happen pretty much, that, you know, it got taken off New Orleans to go back to Vegas. Do you see WWE possibly doing a residency in Vegas for the next couple of years, say, like they were with SummerSlam and Brooklyn, for example, for 3 years straight?
I mean, it could. They clearly think it makes business sense to do it, so yeah, they could do it. Even if it doesn't work out the way they want it to, they could still do it. I guess. I don't know. Who confirmed it?
Yeah, they confirmed it. WWE confirmed it themselves.
Okay. So
it's official. It is really happening. It's not some marked-hard, website that said it. It was actually WWE that came out and said it. And also in TNA news, I can't believe the Inspiration is back. Ah, man, I hate bashing my own, but I was never a fan of these two women ever. They're kind of funny, but it's not really American funny, if that makes any sense. I don't think, Americans really found them that funny because they used to use a lot of that Aussie humor too much, in my opinion. But nevertheless, the Iconics are back in professional wrestling and back in TNA.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm hearing it here first. I didn't watch anything yet.
Well,
no, I mean, I like them. So whether it's Australian humor or not, it was good for the way they did it. I liked it because it wasn't. Okay. It was. I'll tell you what I liked. The stuff they did was never embarrassing to the wrestling business. Like they were outrageous, but they would get in the ring and just have normal matches. Again, unlike a Mr. Iguana, for example, where it's like a joke. Like
literally,
the joke was them. They were the joke. Like they acted stupid. They made themselves look silly to put baby faces over and things like that. And then they got over doing that. And then they sort of turned into like heelish baby faces. So like it's like, but nothing they did, like I said, was embarrassing or killing the business type stuff. It was it was so I like that. That's how you do it. Cause it's same thing with Pretty Deadly. Like Pretty Deadly goofs around and stuff like that. They have serious matches, like their matches don't have comedy spots in them, but they have comedy, everything else outside the ring. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you're supposed to do. In my opinion, that's how comedic performers get over. You be a character that's funny, be comedic, be the butt of jokes or whatever. When you get in the ring, though, you have to be like a competitive athlete. Right. Otherwise, why would anybody hire you to fight for championships? So you have to be somewhat credible in the ring. You can't just be doing comedy spots with puppets and whatnot.
That's facts. Cold Blooded says blonde Jess McKay is way over with me. I agree. She's so much better looking with blonde compared to her being a brunette. Actually changes her whole face. It's kind of weird. They almost don't look like the same person, but I'm with you on that one, Cold Blooded. Bobo is in the house saying, any word on the biggest rumor of the decade? It said that Brown Breaker is getting a new theme song by none other than Limp Bizkit. Yeah, no, that's true, apparently. It's not a rumor. WB confirmed that, as a matter of fact, and I was going to get to that, but that's not the type of news we really,
Well, if it's not, I mean, it's a new theme song, or it's a new song for Braun? Because obviously it should be break stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I'm assuming they're going to remix. You know, usually it should be break stuff, exactly. But I'm assuming they're going to remix his current theme. You know what I mean? The Limp Bizkit way, I guess. But isn't Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit just done these days? I mean, who cares so much about him anymore?
No, they're retro nostalgia now.
Oh, you're right. That's true.
It's been 20 years since anybody cared, so now we care again.
God. Like
Red backwards hats are in, pal.
Hey, I'm all for the 90s and early 2000s. Why not? But yeah, so thank you for that. But I was going to bring that up, but yeah. Limp Bizkit, Bron Breaker, look out for it. Also, look out for Metro Boomin. Also, he's going to do a few theme songs for, I believe, Jacob Fatu's one, and another person I can't remember. He said it on his Twitter anyway, but we'll see what happens there. So apparently a lot of wrestlers are getting new themes, and I guess good for them. Any other major news? I don't really see any more major news per se. Vet, other than Ric Flair announces he's diagnosed with skin cancer again. I didn't even know he had it the first time.
Not to be outdone by JR.
Isn't it the same thing with JR? Wasn't it skin cancer as well?
Well, JR had skin cancer before, but
right.
Ric Flair was tweeting about this colon cancer. That JR had
cancer,
recently.
That's right. You're right. That's yeah.
And now Ric Flair has skin cancer, which of course he does, because God, that guy so tan, right? So.
I mean,
so yeah, but he'll be fine.
That's about it, really. Vet, everything else just seems meaningless for me, and I'm sure definitely for you. Yeah, that's about it. Oh,
that it?
Actually, I do want to ask one more thing about. I want your opinion about. Have you heard about the new Hayabusa?
A little bit. So what? They got another person do the gimmick, like a La Parka situation?
Apparently so, and I'm not sure I like that. I was a fan of the original Hayabusa, man. Even though it was pretty reckless when you look back at his matches. How many times he botched his 450? I mean, and that's what caused him to get paralyzed, and unfortunately also why he passed away pretty much. But I'm just not sure. I mean, are you cool with, like, would you be cool to have another Jushin Thunder Liger, for example? I know we get that with, we've had multiple, what's it called? Oh my God. Why is it left my head? Tiger Mask. We've had multiple Tiger Masks, for example, and that works for some reason. But that's an exception.
Well, I'll tell you why that works in a sense. Tiger Mask was it was a comic and a cartoon.
Yeah, it was, absolutely. Just like Liger.
And they made it a wrestler.
Right.
Just like Liger. So they are portraying like characters that were already fictional, and they would get somebody to be in the suit. So Tiger Mask got up to 4 guys. Like the 4th guy is the current one. It's just about time to pass that on, buddy. If you're going to do it, unless they're basically saying, like, by him being around so long, if they're basically saying that, he's that the gimmick dies with him, as far as like when he retires, they're not going to make a 5th Tiger Mask. Okay. Jushin Thunder Liger became such an iconic performer that it's hard to imagine somebody else doing that because they're only going to compare him to. Matter of fact, wasn't it Chris Jericho that was supposed to be Super Liger, and then they were like, no, let's not.
And I think it was his idea too. Like he came up with that or wanted to be that, but yeah, it didn't happen. Thank God.
Yeah, just so I don't know. I guess it's on a case by case basis. So I don't really like being a younger wrestling fan. Hayabusa was very mysterious. I didn't really see him much because I wasn't actually trading the tapes. So obviously I wouldn't see him. He would just be like in magazines and stuff. Like I would just see this guy. And then, you know, like when something like WCW NWO World Tour came out and they had the gimmick Hayabusa in there, like, you know, you see that, but like
back in the day.
Right. But
this is the world. Sorry, I had on PlayStation. My bad.
Yeah, that one sucked. So basically, I don't know what the culture of that wrestling fan base, how they feel about the legend of that guy is more important than how I feel about it. But I would say, I think he was just his own guy with that gimmick. I don't think it was a Tiger Mask situation where he was playing an anime character. So I think if you're that to me, just because he wore a mask, I don't know if that means, oh yes, any person can play a masked character. Like it would be like saying, well, I'm just Sabu now. Well, no, you're not. You know what I mean? Like
Diesel, Razor Ramon, anyone?
Yeah, did that work?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'd be interested to hear what you guys in the chat think, because I don't know, but like my gut tells me like I don't like it.
Yeah, neither do I. And I wouldn't touch Liger ever again. I mean, his wedding was broadcast on live television, for crying out loud, dude. That's, you know, that's how much of a big deal Liger was and still is in many ways, even though he's retired. And nothing will get me like when Suzuki bowed down to him, man.
Oh, man.
Dude, I don't want to sound like a mark-tard, whatever, but
no, but you had to see it though. Like if we tell you about it, you're not going to get it. But like that whole thing, and that was one of the better, you know, because at that point they were both pretty old. Oh, you know, like they're in their 50s at this point.
Yeah, and
they, you know, their matches are like a lot of 6-mans and stuff like that. But it was like one of their better matches probably ever, late into their career. Right. So yeah, that was a good match, but yeah, like, and even like now with La Parka, like LA Park is awesome. La Parka, I don't know about this new one. A lot of people said they didn't really like the second La Parka, but I didn't watch him, so I don't know. But he eventually got over just because he's carrying that character over for so long. So like eventually he's definitely got to that super over status. But like, you know, when even just like the original guy, the guy that's LA Park now, like even when he's coming out there and he's just fat and brawling and stuff, like he's still way more awesome to me. You know what I mean? Like I like watching because he's got that aura. He's got that, you know, the look at him thing.
It's true, but funny you bring that up. I'm pretty sure the current LA Park is the original La Parka from WCW, and the one that passed away was the
no. I'm not. You're getting you're so confused. And that's why I hesitate to even bring it up. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's too confusing what's happened. But no, I'm just saying like there's only one LA Park.
Well, technically,
no, not technically. There is one LA Park. There's been 3 La Parkas now. That's where you're getting confused. See? Look, Jimmy can't even wrap his brain around it. So imagine the regular fans like trying to be like, wait, so which guy is the, you know, that whole situation is fucked up. Now I can understand why the company would want to keep that gimmick going and put different people under it, because in Mexico and Lucha Libre, those identities are those people's identities. That's why they never take the mask off in public. Right?
That's true. Yeah. Absolutely.
But at the same time, that's also why it's harder for some people to accept maybe that they're being replaced by another human being with the same gimmick, right? And I assume that's probably how people feel about the new Hayabusa too. Like, well, you're not the original guy, so I don't know.
Well, why so long too? They waited, you know, so long, and who gave him the right to actually use that? Like, was it the company? Like FMW, he was known for mainly, for example, and New Japan. And All Japan, but
and FMW doesn't exist anymore, does it?
No, it doesn't, and that's my point. So, anyway, I don't know, man. That I'm even more confused after you told me that, because I've been told so many times by others
since we started it, let me just clarify it. Okay. Right. There's a wrestler. I forget their real name, so I apologize.
Don't worry.
Somebody could Google it. Somebody could Google it, but the original guy from WCW, La Parka, that was the first guy in the gimmick with the skeleton suit, the chair, all that stuff, okay? Yeah. Then he leaves that like company or whatever, that gimmick. So they replace him. La Parka 2 is this guy that recently passed away. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. Right.
Okay. L.A. Park is the original La Parka doing L.A. Park, the gimmick. He's ribbing the name, and he's still using the similar suit, right?
Yeah, that's what I said. I knew that.
But you said, I said there's only one L.A. Park, and you were like, well, technically, like, no. Actually, there's only one L.A. Park, the original La Parka. Then the second guy passed away. They have a third guy in the suit now.
What?
Okay. Now, L.A. Park has 2 sons. Like, L.A. Park Jr. and El Hijo de L.A. Park. But it's all L.A. Park. Okay. Right. But there's only one L.A. Park. And then, and then now they're on their third La Parka, which is a completely different guy. So La Parka's been 3 people. L.A. Park has been 1 person. Got it? Right, everybody got it.
So L.A. Park has always been the OG La Parka, basically. Is what you're saying. All right.
Yes.
And the one that died was the second version of La Parka, basically.
Correct.
All right.
And
now I get it.
It was very recently, I think. So
yeah, about a year or 2 ago, something like that.
Yeah, if you didn't, dude, when LA Park was in MLW, I don't know, he might still be there, but like when I was watching MLW and he was there and he had his sons come out and their whole entrance and everything, like that shit was badass. Like that.
Really? I haven't seen that, so I knew.
Yeah, even though he comes out and he's all fat and everything, but he can still go. So I like, man. I still like LA Park.
The performer is very underrated, man. I mean, he was over in WCW too, man, as the chairman of WCW, if you remember as well. He was doing the strumming of the chair, not a guitar, which is funny as well when he used to come out. But anyway, thank you for clearing that up because it's a bit of a tongue twister. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, one more thing. I don't know how true this is, but apparently the Bucks want to buy PWG. Vet, I don't know why. If they were to do that, I don't know how that would work with AEW. But do you think that would be a good idea for them to even attempt to buy PWG? Is it even worth it?
To me, not knowing anything about the situation, to me, I would think that if the Bucks want to buy PWG, it's probably because PWG needs a bailout, not because there's some hot commodity that the Bucks want to acquire.
Right.
Am I off? Like, what do you guys think?
Well, there's only one time that they're hot commodity, and that's the battle for LA, whatever it's called, once a year. That's it.
Yeah, but aren't they like, but I mean, everything they do is like, so it's like, it's there. Like you have to go there. They don't do like big streaming and DVD stuff really.
I think they do.
You kind of got to go. Isn't it a small venue? So like, even if they sell out, it's like you can't. It's like no money, right?
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Unless they're charging WWE ticket prices, like how would you?
Oh please, for PWG. Well, like Zane says, AEW is just PWG national anyway.
I mean, right? Like they would have taken a lot of that talent that was at that time before AEW started, and as J12 points out, GCW came along and they're kind of doing PWG stuff, but like they do have streaming events and lots of big stuff. So like PWG is just like, if you're in LA, you can go to this sweatbox and watch these guys do the Invisible Man shit. That's how I always took it.
Yeah. That don't even remind me. GCW did that last too.
But the only thing about PWG was sometimes Regal would go to it and see, like he would sift through the wreckage and be like, okay, which of these people doing this phony bullshit is actually good that we can maybe sign. That's where you would see a lot of guys come from. Regal would be, because Regal can see past all the bullshit and see who's good. So like he's not going to judge them based on the grenade spots or, you know, or the pause or slow motion wrestling match. Like he'll look past all that.
Remember that shit too?
Ugh.
No shit. They were all doing a train. Like they stopped the match and all of them were doing a train around the chair. Like fucking idiots. Alistair Black was part of that too, just quietly.
Mr. Iguana would be the Roman Reigns acknowledge me of PWG if that was still a thing, right? Like he would go there and he would immediately be like the undefeated Roman Reigns 5-year champion, bro.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. If they did something like that where you get all the gimmick wrestlers, and I mean total gimmick wrestlers, like but that are more comedic, then absolutely do a friggin' do some sort of gimmick match like that for just a shit stir. It'd be kind of funny where you don't even take it serious, but WWE would never do something like that, even though they have done musical chairs before once. Or was that TNA? I can't remember. It was one of the companies, but anyway, who cares? But that's the news.
That was the NXT. That was Obstacle Course NXT.
Well, it just doesn't work, bro. Zane says that's Chikara. Well, they
same
all
people.
fucking do it. Yeah, exactly. Same
people.
people. Exactly. Spot on. Well, anyway, Vet, that was the news in the world of professional wrestling. But we've got a Fyter Fest of an extravaganza, 4-hour extravaganza, no less. Dude, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to say this. It was tough, man. That's all I'm saying.
This was a mistake.
Oof. Mistake. Dude, this was
But again, they knew, like, well, what's your other options? Have Collision on Saturday and go against the other 20 events. So at least they just got it all out in one. You know, in a way, it was probably the best thing for everyone to just do it all in one. You know,
I get that.
It's not like we had to go to it. We got to break it up.
No, that's true.
I took all week to watch this.
Me too. What do you mean? I watched it last. Oh, did you watch it like bits and pieces since the original airing?
Yeah, like an hour here, an hour there. Finished it up
smart.
Today when I got home. You know, like
you're smart then, dude. Because I did it in one sitting, and it was.
I didn't have a choice. It's no intelligence. I may be smart, but intelligence didn't factor into this one. I just had no time. You know, even on Friday, like I had to set aside some time to whoop you. So, you know,
man. Well, that makes sense. I mean, absolutely. Good for
RBV's
you, though. It worked out. Very interesting hooded gimmick conversation. Morning. Haminami. Welcome, RBV. He's in the house, by the way. But yeah, let's sift through the wreckage, Vet, because there's a bit of sifting. I know on my end anyway.
We're going to get sifted. Get sifted.
What does that mean, Vet? That scares me.
All right. Well, here, I do have some good news. Obviously, we're not going to take nearly as long to get through this as AEW took. So, you know, there's going to be lots of, and we got a special surprise for our main event. So that's extra something to look forward to, guys. Woo. So, all right. So let's start with Dynamite, the Dynamite section of Fyter Fest, I guess we should say. Oh, by the way, before we get into this, sorry to just prolong it even further. No. Did you happen to see any of Summer Games Fest?
Summer Games Fest? No, I believe not.
It's one of those things where, you know, Jeff Keighley, this nerd, comes out and shows a bunch of games, and, you know, he gets so excited about it, he cries sometimes. So anyways, they had a promo on there for Street Fighter 6 Season 3 DLC.
I saw that. Yeah.
Okay, so that's where it debuts, right? So wherever you saw it, it came out from that. And so as you know, that Kenny Omega was a big part of this spot where he basically is like cosplaying as all 4 of the characters that will be added to Street Fighter 6 over the coming year. So, you know, that's going to include Alex, Sagat, Ingrid, which is a lady.
Yeah,
and,
that was weird.
Who is the other person?
Was it Ingrid and was it another female, man?
I don't think so.
It's 6 of them, right?
No, it's 4.
Oh,
but anyway,
6. But I can't remember
it doesn't matter
if there was another one.
Yeah. So anyway, but I was just saying, Kenny Omega still got a relationship with Capcom. They're still, so they tapped him to do that. So it's AEW related. So I thought I'd mention that. And if you guys didn't want to see it, or you guys didn't see it and you're interested in seeing it, you can look that up. See Kenny Omega doing this stuff. I mean, he's clearly a big Street Fighter fan. When every time he says "you can't escape," that's from Alex from Street Fighter 3. And so he actually got to dress as Alex, and he looks actually like Alex when he dressed as him.
And
so
that's
that
his
was
favorite
cool.
character too to use.
Oh, is it really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex.
Okay.
Lame character name.
It's Sagat Viper.
Sea Viper. That's right. So it was a lady. Yeah. 2 ladies.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was another lady.
Yep, you're right.
Alex and Ingrid, like you said before.
Yep. All right. Well, anyway, enough of that bullshit. Let's get to Fyter Fest. People are walking. We have got some walking ass people. We got Mark Briscoe walking. We got Jon Moxley walking. We got Toni Storm walking, and she stops by the camera and says something real quick. And I thought she was about to just come out and hit the ring, but instead we go to Tony Schiavone, and he brings out Will Ospreay. So Will Ospreay comes out looking like some kind of a golf caddy. Like, why was he dressed? He had this white hat and like this soccer jersey looking shit. He looked like he should have been carrying clubs.
Yeah, he looked like, you know what went through my mind? He looks like shit looking like that on TV, in my opinion, but whatever.
All right. Well, anyway, I thought it was funny because in his promo, he just said one of these, I guess they really like to give these guys these long impassioned promos now. And
yeah,
because look, you got to do what number one is doing. So if WWE's going to open the show with a 20-minute segment of guys standing there, you got to do that here and there in AEW too if you want to catch up. So this is where Will Ospreay comes in his thick Cockney accent. And the best part of this is he says, like, the reason that AEW sucks right now is because you're the champion, Jon Moxley.
Did you see that?
And the first thing I think, and I'm sure a lot of fans is like, so you admit it sucks. Thank you. That's what we're trying to say.
Dude, I cringed because I saw the look on his face when he said that. And he was horrified, dude. Literally, he was horrified of himself. That right there proves why some people do actually need scripted promos, bruv.
This might have been scripted.
Oh, God. Well, then why did he react that way? I mean, he looked like he didn't really...
Maybe it sounded differently in his mind.
Maybe.
When he heard himself say it.
Either way, that was a big meme throughout the week of that. And second of all, it's the same guys going around saying that the WWE guys wouldn't be able to cut it in AEW because that's, they're the best wrestlers. But he clearly stated that they suck.
Yeah.
Good one.
He's right.
Bruv.
He's right, though. Penta and Phoenix couldn't cut it in AEW.
Nah.
So anyway, he just takes a long way to challenge Swerve to a match next week. But then the crew interrupts him, and Leo Rush is like, "Hey, I got a lot of pent up anger or whatever. I'm really willing to work it out. So how about me and you tonight?" So the heel challenges the babyface to a match. That always makes sense, and we're gonna get it much later. So look forward to that.
Yeah, and for no reason I mean, what's their problem really? Like, I mean, whatever. Cool. We get a no build match just on the fly later on tonight, or on Wednesday night.
Well, this was a night of random matches. So, or as we call it in the business, every Wednesday and Saturday. So, but this next match or first match actually was not random. It was not out of nowhere. We had a half-ass build to this match. It is Mark Briscoe versus Jon Moxley, non-title, because we're not even sure if the title exists, but also it's not on the line. And yeah, so here we go. Now, Mark Briscoe said that he was upset that his kid thought he quit, so he's going to prove to Jon Moxley that he never quits, and that's how this match came about. So they had the match, and it was a match. What'd you think of the match before I say anything else about it?
It was all right. I didn't mind it, man. It's just I can't stand Moxley anymore, though. It's just him aside. But you know what? It was a surprise seeing Briscoe actually do a move that he hadn't done in a long time, the cutthroat driver, which is pretty rare these days for him to attempt, and he actually did it against Moxley. It was a fine match, but you know what was distracting me? First of all, Willa Yuta with that freaking hairstyle, is that supposed to be tough?
He's wild.
Is that what he's going for?
He's wild and unhinged. He's like, I think they just keep him chained up all the time until he's ready to go out there.
I see. Well, it's distracting because I can't help but look at him thinking, like, what the fuck, man? And Moxley, when he comes out to wrestle, he looks like he's just wrestling in street clothes, dude, all the time now. Have you noticed that? He just takes off his shirt, gets into a match, cool, and that's it. You know what I mean?
So, in the interest of fairness, I will point out a couple of things. One thing has been true for a while, but we haven't really focused on it. And that is that Jon Moxley is in great shape. Like, I will say that, like his actual upper body, because you don't see his lower body, because like you said, he's wrestling in street clothes, but when he takes his shirt off, he's in the best shape he's ever been in. So I'll give him that.
I'll give him that.
And for this, and this is a one-time only thing, he actually sold in this match for a change. Never seen that before. Yeah, Mark Briscoe was whipping his ass, and Jon Moxley was acting like Mark Briscoe was whipping his ass. So I appreciate you having the respect enough for Mark Briscoe to sell his ass whooping.
Do you think it's a respect thing, and he purposely doesn't do it to other wrestlers that he feels don't deserve? He's selling. Honestly,
I don't think he thinks about it like that, because I don't think he's as a human being. I don't think he's purposely disrespectful to people. I think it's just his shittiness and laziness that does it. I don't think he's trying to be disrespectful. I think he just doesn't think about it. But for whatever reason, he was feeling it on this night. Or maybe he gets tired of people saying that he sucks at selling, and he was trying it. Like, that could also be. He could be trying to silence critics or whatever. I mean, to silence critics, people would actually have to watch this. I think they got about the same ratings that they always get in the 650 some thousand range, 660. So, like, same people watch it, so the same people think, whatever they thought. But I'll give him credit for it because I love Mark Briscoe. But so I will watch this. Jon Moxley makes me not want to watch it, but since I did, I noticed that he sold, so I appreciate that. It had to happen sooner or later. And there was shenanigans. I mean, he's still kicked out of the J Driller. You got to disrespect that. Definitely disrespect that move. But, and when somebody's like punching his ass out in the corner, he still just like puts his arms up on the ropes and just leans there and takes it like a sack of crap. But I mean, the rest of the time he was like staggering around and like actually, registering offense So I'll give him that. But he does end up, after some shenanigans, he does end up choking him out again, and the referee has to stop it. So once again, Mark Briscoe did not quit, but it was the same result.
Well, yeah, like despite the loss, Briscoe's resilience was evident in this match, which is always a good thing, of course. But I just want him to get some more wins, man.
Yeah.
But
it would be fun. Like, here's the thing, like, this is what I always say. And they didn't even do what they usually do, which is before a match like this, they give Mark Briscoe a strong win. They didn't even do that.
No.
And they do job him out too much. It's not really affecting him, but I still, and we'll talk about this later, because there's a specific person I want to talk about later, but we'll get to that later. But I do think that it means more for Jon Moxley. Again, not that I personally care about Jon Moxley's career, but I'm just saying, if you're booking a wrestling company and this is your champion, it means more to Jon Moxley if he chokes out a guy that's been winning.
Right. Absolutely does.
Because if he goes in there, nobody believes he's winning anyway. And if you now have a situation where, you know, Mark Briscoe is like, I got something to prove, and people actually believe he can do it, then it's more exciting of a match, right?
No doubt.
But as it is, we're just watching it play out because it's on TV and that's what we're here to do. It's different. Like, this is how wrestling has lost the audience in general, because we don't believe anymore. You have to make us believe sometimes. So the way to do that is, on paper at least, some of these people have to be credible. Mark Briscoe should be credible. Just because he's a good enough personality that beating him all the time doesn't really hurt him in the eyes of the fans, just because that's true doesn't mean you should do that. It doesn't mean it's the right choice. You know, if you just want a bunch of guys to go out there and take L's, that's what you have the premier athletes for. Don't use Mark Briscoe for that. Jesus.
No, spot on. And just give him, you know, it'd be such a feel-good run for him if he actually went on a run and won the title of sorts. I'm not saying the World Heavyweight Championship, but even then, imagine that if they actually knew how to build that. It would be amazing.
They did that with Ring of Honor. Like they did to the Ring of Honor title.
That was then, though. I'm talking about now, like in AEW.
Yeah,
though.
I'm just saying, but like that wasn't enough, and the way they did it was still wrong, you know?
Yeah, it is what it is, man. But obviously he's well liked in the company, and I think he's just, you know, he's cool with putting everyone else over. He doesn't seem upset or disheartened by any of it. But like you said, he's pretty much untouchable. Even though he does lose all the time, but in the eyes of the fans, no one like shits on him over it. No one like, you know, everyone is still behind him, and that's everyone should be. But he loses way too many matches, man. Someone like him should get a few wins at least.
Yeah, apparently I just contradicted myself. Help me out, Zane, because I don't remember what I just said. So,
okay.
And you know, you can just type the contradiction. You don't just have to say it. You can actually type what I said to you know. Mystico next Wednesday, Jimmy. He's going to be here, even though he's been here.
I know.
Just want you to know that.
God.
This was kind of funny. So, the CEO comes out to the desk with a steak dinner. so there's a steak dinner waiting for Mercedes, and she's just sitting there eating the steak dinner during this next match, which is...
Do you like that? Is that shitting on the talent by her doing that pretty much a little too much?
No.
You think it's cool for her to just be sitting there eating her meal?
If you're a heel.
I guess. But does that really give you real heat, like, per se?
You just asked about it, so that answers your question, doesn't it?
Well, that's true. That's actually a good point. I answered my own question.
And that's what I'm saying.
Right,
so,
but yeah.
Yeah, so Toni and Mina versus Dark Julia.
Oh, yes.
Dark Skye.
Oh, I didn't mean that. But yeah, we had the team
Darkness Fatality.
I have to do that now. Yeah, I mean, and please, Julia, don't ever attempt old school ever again. Please. That was cringe. Like, bad, dude.
Just because you wear that hat out there doesn't mean you need to be walking the top rope.
Why? And the thing is, you can see she's not even she's more worried that she might actually fall off the top rope just quietly than trying to do that move properly, if you know where I'm getting at. But anyway, sorry, I just had to say that quickly.
Fair enough. So yeah, well, anyway, whatever. So Toni wins with a chicken wing, and then afterwards she goes and she steals Mercedes' steak and starts eating it.
I don't know what to say about that, man. I mean, it's weird stuff for me, but cool. I mean, she was hungry, I guess. I don't know, man. Again, I hate that she's Australian, and I hate that I'm going to say it because I know it seems a bit of a coincidence, but I'm bored of this gimmick, dude. I've been bored of it for a long time. I know even you, in a sense, are kind of over it too, but I don't know, dude. She's funny, but it's like I've seen this one too many times now. It's been too much. I hate her wrestling gear too, dude. Is she going for a swim?
Yeah, it looks like the old time bathing suits, right?
Yeah, and I get it because she's trying to, hit that 1950s look, whatever, or 40s, whatever the hell it is. But I just don't like it. Just doesn't look right with her, man, for me. But that's just me.
I mean, I guess I kind of not that into it, but whatever. She's having the time of her life, apparently. Pun intended.
Like apparently, people say she's the best female wrestler in the world right now.
Yeah, she's one of them, and she's doing this.
Yeah, cool.
So Lexi is with Will Ospreay, and of course, before he can say anything else, because he got enough time out there, MJF steps up, and eventually they talk enough shit to each other that MJF gets grabbed up, and then the Hurt Business is like right there, and Will Ospreay has to be like, "Oops." So I did like how that played out in a way, but
well, that was cool, but it gets ridiculous shortly. Quite shortly. You know where I'm getting at.
Well, the Hurt Syndicate does a promo, and Max says he's going to be scouting Mystico, and maybe if he's impressed, he'll wrestle Mystico.
Ooh.
Very nice.
I'm intrigued.
But Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight and Commander are ready to go tonight, and they challenge the Hurt Syndicate. And MVP tells them they got to earn it. They don't get any free. There's no free lunches here. They got to earn it. Versus LFI, which if it's LFI, that means we get.
Oh.
The Beast. Mortals.
Yep.
Here we go.
More like the Beat Mortos, because they beat Mortos.
Let me redo that.
The Beat Mortals.
Why does he have to be the guy,
And you know what's sad? Now it's affecting him, I feel. At first he was cool, he was still over, but now I feel like he's just stuck in mud, bro. And can't get out.
It's crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
I mean, but MVP said they had to earn it, and they did, so he confirms that next week it's going to be a trios match with the three wrestlers versus, these other guys.
And Mortals, the Beat.
But that's next week, because this week we're going to get a preview of that match, because these little guys are going to super kick the Hurt Syndicate all over the place and dive on their asses.
Dude, why would you do this and make these guys look so stupid, bro? It's not believable, dude. It's not. It just isn't. It makes me want to turn it off right then and there, because get out of here, man. Like, really? These guys that look like super monsters the whole time. Then you get these three little guys. Literally, like Zane says.
Elite Fatality.
I mean, seriously. What a way to... And MJF selling for these idiots, the way he took that spot when they all dived off, they were just sitting there waiting. Actually, let me rewind that a little bit. When MJF first came into the ring, and I think Commander done some sort of flip, from the outside onto the inside and got MJF. He was waiting there forever, it felt like, dude, waiting for that to happen, which cringed me again.
Everyone does. Everyone has to wait for Commander to get his balance and stuff.
Why is he? Then he sucks. If it takes you that long to do a figure, just don't, man. Don't even have him out there doing that shit. It takes me away from it. He's just sitting there like, hello. Sometimes it feels like a minute, but it's not. It's probably realistically 5 seconds, but it's 5 seconds too long, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it always feels, and I bet it felt even longer for MJF than it felt for us.
Oh, I felt bad for him, dude, that he had to sit there. It was like literally like, come on, hurry up. Like, but what do I know?
All right, well, I'll tell you an easy situation, okay? If you're in that situation where somebody's fucking up, whatever, the quickest, easiest way to do it is You go over there, right? Like, let's say he's climbing up to the top because he's supposed to jump on you and he's taking forever. Right. Just go to him and be like, kick me. Then you can sell around and come back. And by the time you grab your face, oh my God. And then by the time you turn back around, he should be ready. Like, just do that. It's easier than just standing there like a fucking moron the whole time. I'm just giving you tips as a worker that you can cover that shit up when you know somebody's going to be doing that. This would be good for anybody that has to work Vikingo, for example, or any of these guys that take like 20 minutes to set up like one dive. Just if they're taking too long and you realize, oh shit, I have to stand here too much, just go over to them and say like, kick me or slap me or something so that I can sell back around to you.
Yeah, no, because it just makes others look like clowns. You know what I mean? And which would be frustrating. I know it'd piss me off. I'd probably lose it if I was MJF, but whatever. It is what it is.
All right. Well, anyway, yeah. So like you said, it was silly that the Hurt Syndicate. I know they were just trying to like. Well, first of all, this is what they think they're doing. I'll tell you what they think they're doing, and then I'll tell you what they should have done. What they think they're doing is, well, the Hurt Syndicate's going to kill these guys, so. Let's at least give them a little something now to make the people think it's not quite a quality win, even though we just got one over. Who did we get a quality win over?
Are you talking about the LFI? Oh,
yeah, and who? I'm giving you the spot, the Iggy. You can do the thing. See, that was like how MJF felt when he had to wait for Commander to do that. I had to wait for you to fumble around and figure out what I was. Yeah. All right.
It's exactly right, though.
That's what they think they're doing. They think they're giving these guys a little shine and a little hope so that people think they have a chance against the Hurt when they're just going to get mauled like everybody does, right? But you don't have to. All you got to do is have them ready to go and, like do the old classic, come on, you son of a bitch, like to Bobby and Shelton and MJF and all that. Yeah. And then you just have them look at him and just be like, nah, and just leave. Because they're all dressed, they have their nice clothes on and everything. Just, nah, we don't fight for free. We're leaving. And that gets them heat. It makes the baby faces look strong because the guys left.
Right.
Which is how it's going to go anyways. Like, even if you do the spot where they dive, you dive on them, they still got to leave. So it's the same thing. You just do this you're still making the babies look strong. You make the heels look arrogant and nobody's touched anybody. So now we're more excited to see the match next week.
And it works for everybody all the way around by not even touching anybody. I know it's true, man. Again, you say the simple stuff, bro.
Somebody back there has to know that and get shut down for this to happen. So like, for example, I'm just throwing a name out there. I don't have sources. Okay.
Are you sure?
I'm no guy with sources, but I'll just throw a name out there for the sake of argument. So don't bury the guy, but let's say Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn's back there. He's like, hey, what if, and then he says the exact same thing I just said. And then Tony will be like, no, I think it'd be better if we did it like this. Well, he can't do anything after that. It's it. It's over. So this is how wrestling companies are. And this is why I'm here. Because I'm not going to be Jerry Lynn. I'm not going to get Jerry Lynn. And again, I'm not saying it's Jerry Lynn. So I don't mean to use him as a verb. But I'm just throwing a name out there. It could be whatever agent that's back, Christopher Daniels, whoever. I'm not going to be that guy, getting told by somebody that doesn't know better that they know better. So I'm sitting here on the mic with you guys. And I like this much more. It's a lot less stressful to do what I'm doing.
Imagine you're working for, oh God, I could picture this. And you're trying to, give actually the right ideas on what to do. And he'd go, oh, no. Well, would you lose it? I think you would not be able to keep your mouth shut. No way. There's no way you'd bite your thumb, literally, or your knuckles, and letting him just do all that shit. You'd be fired probably within a few weeks.
Probably.
Or could
yeah,
you?
for some reason, for some reason you can just like, if you're a chosen person, you can do whatever you want. And if you're not a chosen person, then anything that you do is wrong. So yeah, in that sense, that's basically how it would be. I mean, I would just, when people would give me lemons or whatever, I would make the lemonade that I could. And when it went out there and flopped, it's not because I sandbagged it. If I had bad creative, I just did it the way whoever wanted it and let them see that it didn't work.
Oh, I like
but
that.
it wasn't because I didn't but unlike a lot of people, I wouldn't sandbag it and sabotage it to guarantee it wouldn't work. I would just do it the way it was supposed to be done correctly and let them see, like, you know, and they'd be like, okay, well, we should have done something else. But that thankfully didn't happen that much. I ended up being more in the position of like higher up. So like I was more the guy giving suggestions, but in the times where I was outranked or whatever, I didn't put up a fight. I just was like, all right, that's what you want.
But that technically wasn't part of your job at OVWs to, like, you know, agent fucking matches, for example. Like, you know what I mean? You just started doing it.
I mean, technically, you know, whatever. I did what was needed. That's basically it. So I was just trying to paint a picture of how something like this could happen where, yeah, it looks really silly for these guys to take these super kick bumps and dives and all this stuff, right? It's just, don't do it.
Yeah.
Alicia is with the Paragon and Daniel Garcia. They're going to team up later. Lexi is with the Patriarchy and Nick is going to defend his title later. But Christian's not giving it to him easy. He's going to have to defend it in a fatal 4-way.
Ooh, tough.
Okay, it's time for the Caster 5-minute challenge.
This is funny, bro.
He's still got his petition. He's going to have the ref sign it because the ref hadn't signed it yet. So he's going to have the ref sign it.
The Maximaniacs were in the crowd apparently too.
Yep. They did the chant, you know, let's go Max, you're the best wrestler alive. And then Powerhouse Hobbs answers the challenge. He's got 5 minutes, but it only take him 48 seconds. So your winner, Powerhouse Hobbs.
Jesus Christ.
Actually, in this 48 seconds, Max got more offense, I think, than all of his previous matches combined. So that was interesting, but it still wasn't very much, obviously.
And this is a good example of AEW in general, actually, because where they're going with this Max Caster gimmick, it's going to go nowhere. It's just going to end out of the blue, and then we don't see him for like probably a year. Then maybe he gets ghosted after that because Tony's bored of that toy, and then he's gone. That's how I feel like, you know what I mean, is going to happen to Max Caster. Nothing's going to come out of this, man, at all. I just don't see it. It's been too long, Vet, has it not, at this point? He hasn't even won a match in 2025.
To be honest, I don't know what you do now. I guess keep beating him.
Sweet. That's his gimmick. That's your gimmick, bro, for the rest of your running.
Yeah, he's basically, you know, Barry Horowitz with a microphone.
Even worse. Yeah, exactly. Because he's got a mic trying to put himself over as the best in the world, which is so dumb. Because
I mean, you just keep going. You keep leaning farther into that as the more losses pile up, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they're just treading water until they actually figure out what to do. So.
Oh, yes.
Anyway.
Sorry, my bad, cold-blooded. He's the best wrestler alive, not in the world per se.
Well, we got some best wrestlers alive here. It's Brody King versus Claudio Castagnoli versus Máscara Dorada versus Kenny Omega and
Kenny Omega.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna be completely honest.
You loved it.
As the great poet Sabrina Carpenter has said, my give-a-fucks were on vacation, so I couldn't be bothered. I did see Kenny retains his championship by catching Dorada out of a Hurricane Rana and then just flipping him up and doing the one-winged angel, which that was pretty sick.
That was cool. Absolutely cool. But you know what was annoying? His freaking pants was so annoying, bro.
Kenny's pants?
I hated it. Just the look of him just was getting my I'm looking at him like, what the fuck is this? Why is he wearing weird shit? But whatever, that's him. He's glamorous, I guess. He loves gold and yeah.
Now that you mention it, at least 50% of the time, Kenny has some whack gear, doesn't he?
Lately, yeah. He never used to be that whack, but now he's become totally whack when it comes to his gear, man.
a lot of his stuff in like the 2017, 2018 sort of New Japan time was pretty cool, but
that
even
was good.
Yeah, ever since he's been in AEW, he's had some weird kind of, and it's not like the gear itself is weird. It's just the designs, like the colors aren't that good,
right,
or like it's a shitty airbrush look. Like he's got some bad stuff sometimes. So tighten that up.
Yeah, please, Kenny, for crying out, and change that damn theme song. I know he goes between that and
it's for the big matches, you know. We get this one for the big match, the title defenses.
Well, it doesn't get me hyped, unfortunately. I need something more than that shit. I guess I'm not into Final Fantasy, so sorry, not sorry.
Well, I don't even know any Final Fantasy songs that have that dude singing.
Who is that dude?
Who is that dude? Is that you with the voice changer again, Jimmy? Are you singing these lyrics?
True. It's more like, whoops, wrong button again. What is going on here, man? I was going to do this. Oh, never mind. Forget it. It's too late now, man. But basically, I was going to be like,
who is that?
Why doesn't he just sing like that? Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, like I said before, like this is the tip. Look, I'm all about giving tips today. I'm not as much into burying this stuff. I'll just say I didn't pay attention if I want to, but here's the tip, you know, and I've given this tip already, so this is a repeat tip. If you're going to do one of these big Final Fantasy epic entrance themes and you're going to have lyrics, it's got to be a choir of women, not one dude. If you have the, it's got to be the high falsetto singing. Like it can't be the, no, don't do that.
Ridiculous.
People will just laugh.
Anyway.
All right. So Okada comes out after Kenny wins, and then they have a skirmish until, you know, Okada powders out like he's about to get the one wing angel himself, and then he powdered out and took off. But Okada's strength is not brawling, so they should never really have him do this kind of stuff.
He's never a brawler.
No, it's something he doesn't do very well. So I wouldn't have him do that. And you already knew you were gonna do. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to it. Ricochet. Sure.
Just quickly, are we setting up this Okada Kenny match for All In, you think?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Ricochet will be scouting tonight. That's his promo. He's saying he's going to be checking out some talent. Because remember, he said he wants to start a faction because everybody has a faction, so he needs one too.
Didn't he say that a long time ago too and nothing happened?
No, it was last week.
There was another time he said even before last week, but anyway, it doesn't matter. He wants a faction.
Maybe no. What if I remember, if memory serves, it was MVP gave him a card.
Oh, yes.
And then he tried to join and it was too late. Like he's like, you hesitated, so no, or something like that. Because he wasn't quite a heel yet, but he was like in that heel that he was, you know, veering into the heel direction.
Yeah. But anyway, he wants a faction, just like everyone else has got a faction. But please continue on.
All right. Well, it's time for Ospreay versus Rush. Not Rush, Leo Rush.
Oh, yes. That's
you know, once again, Koopa jacket, double thumbs up. We got that. I'm not gonna lie again. I didn't really pay attention to this match. It was kind of on.
Why?
It was radio. It was radio for me. I listened to it. I know what both these guys can do. I think Leo Rush is fantastic. I think Will Ospreay is fine. I'm sure their match was somewhere between a C- and a B+. And Ospreay won with a Styles Clash. And that immediately brings Action Andretti in for the heat back maneuver. And then we get a cowboy save.
Cowboy save, of course, by Hangman Adam Page. And then everything turned to shit right after that, Vet.
Yeah, because he got on the mic.
It just turned to shit. I mean,
all right, well,
continue.
I'm gonna save you the indignity of listening to how he was saying it, but basically his main message that you need to take away from all the stuff he said was that he will never accept help from Swerve Strickland, the worst person on the planet. He will never accept help. So that what that means is when they set up for the moment when he eventually accepts help from Swerve, he's going to be a liar. And they're going to expect you to be a huge pop because he said he wouldn't do it, and you got the impossible thing. That's what they think they're doing, but all you're really doing is just making him wishy-washy again.
Dude, this is TK's way of telling drama and very dramatic, like in his eyes, like because he's picturing it like this, and then when they eventually earn the respect of each other, they're going to hug, they're going to embrace, and everyone's going to be crying in the crowd. It'll be such an emotional moment. It'll be like, oh, my God. But it's not going to get that. We're not going to get any of that. But this is just corny as hell, dude, because that's where we're going, right? Eventually, they're going to kiss and make up, literally. I mean, they've already drank in each other's blood. They've probably passed on STDs for, you might as well go all in with each other at this point and become a couple because what more can you do with these guys? They've already done the most ridiculous shit. Have them as a team too afterwards.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, like Zane Vicious says, they're not even on TNT. TNT knows drama, but they're actually on TBS, which is very funny. So
it's exactly true. TNT does know drama.
So all you can do is laugh at this. And then,
stupid. But
this is no laughing matter, Jimmy, because the Dick Riders surround the ring.
Oh, like a bunch of sharks or hyenas or whatever you want to call them.
Look at him circling around. And then Ospreay comes back out and he's got chairs for everybody. He hands Hangman a chair. So we're even on the saves now. You saved me 5 seconds ago, so I'll save you now with this chair. I just had to run back and get some chairs real quick, and I got them, and here they are. Here's yours. Here's mine. Yep, we're ready. We're ready now. And eventually, I guess the sharks swim off.
Yeah, they swam off. And you know what else is corny? The fact that Hangman deep down wants to be friends with Swerve. Like, do you remember the week before? Like, he almost had that puppy dog look on his face. Like, please, Swerve, forgive me. Like, look. And now I hate him because he hates me, basically. It's like, I know you are, but what am I bullshit? Mm-hmm. When really I felt like Hangman was willing to sort of, like, be bygones sort of thing. Let bygones be bygones, but Swerve's got other ideas for now.
For now,
because, we all know where this is going to go eventually.
It's going to go to Lexi with Don Callis and the Proto Sheeta, as he's calling the tag team of Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. And they've got, at least for one night, a new member, maybe, of the family. And you know who it is?
Echi
Cero.
Actually, should I say it like this?
Hechicero.
The Dark Wizard.
The Dark Wizard.
He needs to adopt Julia and Skye and teach them a thing or two.
Why not? I mean, maybe they should form some darkness of sorts. I mean, he's so underrated. Out of all the luchadors in CMLL, in my opinion, he's the best one, bro.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
By a long shot. Just my opinion, though.
And, no one ever really does that. Like, they don't... They never take, like, a wrestler who's active, I mean, and then have them manage, like, completely different people. Like, it's one thing for Hechicero to be a singles wrestler or, in a team situation like this. But then if he was to, like, go off to these two women that are a tag team and sort of be like a mentor / coach / manager / dark arts teacher, like,
yeah,
just cool. For matches, like, just have him out there, and then they'll be doing stuff, and then you'll see him like you'll see him go talk to one of them and tell him something, and then they go in the ring and do something, and you're like, in your mind, the storytelling will tell you he told her to do that. So now it's easy to follow the story of the match. You know what I mean? Rather than just do a bunch of moves. If you had Hechicero out there just to do that, like that little bit of something, not that he's cheating for the other team, but just like he's advising his pupils, and then they do something that you don't see them do, like some submission hold or something like that. And then it's like, I see something. And then he just goes back to doing whatever. But no one really thinks like that. They compartmentalize every single person on this thing. You know, like they'll have people fighting backstage, right? And then what? We all know you're still just backstage. So what did you do? Did you just go sit down somewhere and not fight anymore? Aren't you still mad? Like, what happens? You know, we never see these stories because everything happens in its own little universe and none of these people are connected.
You know what? Like Jerome Hall says, the Dark Order 2, that could have been a good
real Dark Order.
The real Dark Order, exactly.
And you could start by feuding with the original Dark Order and beating the shit out of them and making everybody forget about them.
Yeah, absolutely. But that name is already, unfortunately just damaged bad to even try to attempt that. Because he already fucked it in the first place. I'm talking about Toni. But yeah, that's unfortunate though.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway. Speaking of unfortunate, Atlantis Jr. and Templario versus FTR.
Didn't go for that long, thank God, this match. But it's still long enough.
Well, you know who's going to win anyway.
Of course.
God forbid any CMLL talent gets over, right? So, they actually, this was funny. I didn't watch the match. I'm not going to lie. But
that was funny.
I will at least watch the finish, right? And if I didn't watch the finish, I wouldn't have seen this. So they went for the WrestleMania 5 Ultimate Warrior Rick Rude finish where he goes for the suplex to the outside in, right? So
yeah.
So this is Templario, and he's got Cash up in the suplex, and he pulls him in, and then Dax grabs the leg, Daxon? Yeah. Hollywood Axe Axon, sorry. Axe grabs the leg.
Yeah.
Grabs the leg, and boom, Cash falls on top, but you're supposed to hold the leg down so that he can't kick out. That's what Bobby Heenan did. He held the Ultimate Warrior's legs and ducked under the apron so the ref couldn't see him, and he held his legs down, and that's what allowed Rick Rude to pin the Ultimate Warrior. Well, here, Cash falls on top of Templario, and Templario does not keep his legs there, so Dax goes to grab him, and he misses because Templario's kicking his legs in the pin, like doing the little, the bicycle. Right. He's doing the bicycle, and Dax can't reach his legs, so he just has to sit there and get pinned off of nothing like an idiot because he didn't keep his leg down for Dax to hold on to. And you see Stokely go for it too, like they both almost went for it, and then Dax was shit, fuck it, like it's too late, like I can't. So that was hilarious to me. I don't know how many people caught that, but oh my god! And then
coincidence. Okay, continue.
All right, well, so just to finish out this whole thing, Stokely gets on the mic to do the promo, hands it off. They do the thing where, they're trying to do the Dominic Mysterio thing, right? Jimmy, no heat. These guys have no heat because the people would boo for a second because they knew they were supposed to, but they did not sustain it because they realized this shit sucks and they don't actually care. So they'd be like, Axe is like, if you don't stop booing, I'm not going to talk. And they'd be like, boo. Oh.
Right. Basically.
And then just, they stop booing after they boo the one time. It's like, they're like, boo, boo, sir.
Yeah, people are so over these guys, bro. And is it a coincidence that all these fuck ups happen when they're around? When, coincidentally, FTR is always involved in some screw up in their match.
I mean, you could blame Templario for this, but you couldn't blame him. You couldn't blame him for all that shit they were doing with O'Reilly and Roderick Strong that time that made it around. Bro. Like all the other stuff they fuck up that I point out. Like you can't blame Templario for all that because he was only in this one match.
But the fact that they're involved anyway, I still blame FTR because it always happens on their watch, bro. No matter what.
Well, dude, if you never let go of his foot, he wouldn't have been able to pull it away from you.
I know. So there you go.
You bald fraud. Sorry, the other best in the world likes to say that, so I figure I'll steal that too.
Yeah, CM Punk to The Rock, exactly.
So yeah, no heat. Or it's like, yeah, it's like fake heat. It's like, I guess we're supposed to boo you, but I'm too tired.
They're getting extremely close to getting X-Pac heat. I know that's not really a thing per se, but I like saying it. In other words, go away heat. They're very close. They're on the brink of really getting that. I think the fans are so over these guys and just their crap. Sorry, Prof, if you're listening. I
hope he's listening. I'm going to turn you, Mr. Veracruz. I will turn you. I will get you to hate them.
Well, actually, he was leaning towards jumping off the bandwagon at one point. He's close. We can literally get him to the other side.
I'm gonna have you take over the reins of the bandwagon and jerk the reins so that the horse stop. And I'm gonna shove him out at the same time and send him rolling down the road. That's what we're gonna do.
Damn. Well, yeah. So
we're not gonna leave any room for error here. We're getting him off this bandwagon. All right. So our next is another trios match. It's Proto Cero versus Los Outrunners and Bandito.
Yeah. So
if you don't know what Los Outrunners is, it's like the Outrunners, but they have masks on.
Yeah.
I can't confirm that they're actually the same team, but that's what it's like. So
I like it though, but you know what, man? They've screwed these guys so much too, bro. I feel.
Yeah, remember when people were excited to see them?
Yeah, and then what does Tony do? Fully cool them off. He should have pulled the trigger when they were really hot at one stage. They should have had the tag belts, but remember they got buried by the Hurt Syndicate, unfortunately. And then it went downhill from there. You know what I mean? But
because they don't know what to do now. But to their credit, I mean, obviously the Outrunners deserve a ton of credit. But like to the credit of the audience that was there, just like a few minutes ago, that couldn't have been bothered to boo FTR too long. They had to boo him multiple times, but just not long. And to their credit, they're probably tired already. But, in this match, when Turbo Floyd fired, or, El Turbo Floyd, whatever his name is, when he fired up, the people came alive. Like, they were with it. So, like, he fired up and the crowd fired up. But, again, that's just because they like the Outrunners, but they don't want to see him in this position because, sure enough, right after he fires up, it's only like a little bit later before he eats a brain buster from Kyle Fletcher and takes a pin.
Unbelievable, man. I hope they don't do these guys wrong any further, man.
Too
but
late.
Even though they are, and they continuously do so. But these guys don't deserve this shit.
Too late.
Unfortunately. Yeah, it is what it is.
Okay, so Megalope is backstage, and they are talking about how Anna Jay better bow down. But then the camera pans down, and we see Anna Jay. They got her. They got her, Jimmy, and they're making her bow down. And then they drag her out to the stage area. So they want everybody to see Anna Jay bow down, not just the millions watching at home, but they want the just the people in the building to get a good look. So they bring her out to the stage. And then randomly, some music plays, and guess who's back?
Can I do it? Let me do it.
Hey, Miller! Yay!
Are you excited, Vet? She's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't see Swerve, so like, I have to worry about her kid at home. But other than that,
I thought of that actually. I swear to God, I did. I'm thinking, who's taking care of the kid? Maybe Sammy was, obviously.
Yeah. So, Ty Mella's back. She came out. And she had face paint on.
Does that make it tough now?
Yeah, probably.
Is she Amazonian Tay Mello now, since she's from Brazil?
I think the eyeshadow was like Brazilian colored.
Yeah, but she could be from the Amazon now.
Well,
Why not?
So it's an Amazon versus a Themysciran.
Hey, yeah, we can have a clash of some ancient shit right here, bro. Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah.
Who would win?
All right. I'm excited. I also want to point something out.
What's that?
You remember last week when we talked about the spot where Harley Cameron, they did the spot where they busted her face on the stairs?
Right.
And you remember how I said it was a work?
Right. Well, guess what?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was. But I said it was a work. Then I listened to Jim Cornette's show and he watched the spot and he said it was a work.
Oh, I was going to say, right.
And then I listened to Keeping It 100 and listened to Disco and he bought it. He thought it was a shoot. So he got worked.
Disco, I love Disco, don't get me wrong. But I hate to say it, Glenn, but he comes across as sometimes a real mark type with some of the shit he says. Right? Even though he won't say, obviously he doesn't think of himself like that. But he gets shit so wrong so many times. I almost feel bad for him now. He should just keep his mouth shut.
Yeah. Yeah, just pointing that out. So Lexi is with Five Tool and Daddy Tool, and they cut a promo.
Five Tool and Daddy Tool. I like it.
Then Ricochet comes out and he's going to do commentary for this next. Oh, well, we heard about this match. Christian apparently made this match. It's Sammy Guevara versus Shoddy Lee. I don't think they call him that anymore. It's just Lee Johnson now, right?
Yeah, it's just Lee Johnson. But still.
Boring. AR Fox. And, of course, the champion, the Ring of Honor television champion, Nick Wayne. So that's your four-way for the Ring of Honor television championship. Nick Wayne's got to defend it. Nobody really cares, but I will say that what I took out, actually, sadly, I did watch this match. What I took away from it was, well, I guess I would have took this away whether I paid attention to the match or not, but the crowd was very vocally behind AR Fox, right?
They always kind of are. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. So like,
no wins.
Yeah. So like, you know, I'm thinking, well, why are they behind AR Fox versus, because they don't chant everybody's name, but they chanted his name here several times, especially toward the end, because they want him to win. And I was thinking, well, why do they want him to win? And I was thinking because, well, they beat him all the time.
Right.
So now he's at that point where like they're almost cheering against the booking, but cheering for AR Fox too. So it's like, it's there is some value in being that guy. Now, we were talking about Mark Briscoe earlier, and Mark Briscoe should not be that guy because this kind of guy should be AR Fox, right? AR Fox never really done anything to deserve any level of prestige.
No,
I'm not saying he's a jobber.
No,
but I'm just saying, like, yeah, what would you point to that AR Fox has done that would make him like a contender, right? So it makes sense in the terms of the overall history of his career. Whereas Mark Briscoe has been multiple champions and multiple companies and all this stuff, right? So you're like, well, we got to do better with Mark. Plus he's fire on the microphone, you know, all this other stuff that AR Fox isn't. But like AR Fox is a good guy to be that strong win, right? But then that in turn gets him over with the crowd. You can get over by getting beat. Now they're staying with Mark Briscoe because they love Mark Briscoe and in spite of the booking too. But also because of the booking, now they're starting to get behind AR Fox as well. So that's just one example. I'm not saying these are the only examples, but we're just talking about them on the same show. So
that's
like this is
an example though.
Yeah, so this is how you can sort of like make a baby face even though you're using them to get over all these other people. But
you know, they're not going to do that.
And I don't think they should. As a matter of fact, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that you ever put him over. But what I'm saying is, by beating him or whatever, like, he actually gets a little more over than he would if he was winning.
Right. I mean,
it's like the Chicago Cubs.
They suck, don't they?
They sucked for 100 years. They won one World Series and they went back to sucking. It would have been better if they never won, right? Because then their fans would be like, come on, you got to win one. What if you win one, then you can't say that anymore. Now they're just another team that won one, and you still suck. So you couldn't follow up on the win. You couldn't turn it into a dynasty. That's disappointing, right?
Absolutely.
Same
Absolutely
thing.
Disappointing. No, you're right. It's true, man. But it's going to get to the point where I feel like AR Fox is going to get almost Nick Nemeth, if that makes any sense. You remember Ziggler when he was over with the fans, and then they just ran him in the ground so much that the fans were even like, you know what, fuck him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's what's going to happen with AR Fox eventually, because they're not going to do anything with him. You know what I mean? They're just going to keep making him lose. And you can see it on his face. He's got boo-boo face a lot, dude, taking these losses most of the times I've noticed. But I don't blame him, man.
How can you? I would never know what his face looked like because he's always taking losses. So I don't know what it looks like any other time.
See what I mean? Well, yeah, he just doesn't look interested. Like, I don't know, man. It's like he knows. I'm just here. I'm doing my thing, get a paycheck, and out I go.
Hey, they're using him, so I guess that's best. I can definitely say it's better. It's better if you have to travel to a city to get used in a match than to not. So I don't think he really was too worried about it at this point. But I'm not talking to him. I'm not trying to console AR Fox. I'm just trying to, explain the booking. So, so Nick Wayne, right as the crowd is as hot for AR Fox as they've ever been, Nick Wayne wins with some fisherman plex looking move. So
it was probably a fisherman buster, like they love.
Yeah, some buster. Yeah, he definitely didn't hook it and pin it. He just busted him.
He just busted him. That sounds funny.
Speaking of busted,
yeah,
are you ready, Jimmy, for the Toxic Spider debut? You know all about Toxic Spiders being in Australia, so even though she's from Austria, which is the other Australia,
shrimp on the barbie happens in Austria. Remember Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah, so definitely, you got a kindred spirit here. This is the debut.
Can I ask, was this supposed to impress me? Her doing the spider walk? I've seen it before with Bray. Just saying, you know what I mean?
I don't know if it's supposed to impress you, but how'd you feel about it?
I don't know. Her character doesn't, like, if she was a dark character, fine, do it, right?
She's not?
Well, she's sort of, I guess.
Maybe if we put her with Hechicero.
Hey, maybe. But the thing is, the way she looks doesn't give me the dark. Yeah, exactly. I want him to actually do that shit while controlling the female wrestlers while he's doing that shit.
Yeah.
Sort of like a Shang Tsung, like a soul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That would be cool if he actually did that, but only with the women, like the dark women, which would be even funnier. But they won't. They don't think like that, so they're not going to even go there because they couldn't care less about Hechicero and his, magic and whatnot. Sorcery, should I say.
You should. All right, well,
absolutely,
anyway.
But they won't.
Anyway, Lady Frost is the opponent, and
she got frosted.
She got frosted.
Frost bit. Melted.
Yeah. Bit by the spider. Frost bit by the spider.
Did you notice she was satisfied with her impactful debut? Like to AEW, she looked fully into it. I don't know. Is she going to be a big deal, you feel, in AEW? Do you think they will push her to a world title win and then they'll forget about it for a good 2 years?
It's possible.
I mean, do they not do that with most of these,
Well, let me ask this. Let me ask your perspective as a fan, you're watching this debut. Did it feel to you like they were definitely trying to make a big deal out of it?
Yeah. I felt like they were trying.
More so than some other people.
Definitely. Yeah. 100%.
And I can't... guys, I cannot stress to you enough how she was fired from Stardom after attacking the president or whatever.
And you told me
they only told us that 20 times.
Right. Was she
of course, when you say it that many times, the first question I cut to is like, so why did you hurry up and hire her then? Because I don't want to. Tony Khan's the guy that fears for his life. So why would he? Right. Why would he want to bring in somebody that's known for attacking people?
Because Tony Khan. Not even AEW, just because Tony Khan, man. It is what it is.
Got it. Todd Brantley's not here, so I get it. All right, well, anyways, this match was, well, it was. I will say that. I'll be nice and say that. I've seen better debuts. I've seen worse. Let's ride that fence. She wins with some submission that they're calling the Death Trap. Don't know how to describe it to you. You'll just have to look it up. But I'm surprised. She didn't even do the tarantula. That would have been a layup, right?
Ooh,
she did a spot in the ropes where she kind of hung out in the ropes like a spider, kind of like Andrade does.
Right.
But like, you know, the sexy girl version, I guess, of Andrade's spider thing.
Yeah.
But that was just her hanging out. She didn't do an offensive move there. So you would think a tarantula, she could work that in a little bit, right?
Should she be more... I know people are using the Victoria comparison, even though that's kind of silly because I didn't feel the spider vibe even with Victoria. She just had what's it called, a dead one. Wasn't it dead in a container? She'd bring it out and that's it. It's not like she used it. At least with Thekla, yeah, you know what I mean? So what was the point, you know what I mean, of her bringing that out? But anyway, at least with Thekla, she walks like a spider per se. I know you're saying, you know, is she dark and whatnot? I want to see more spider-like look. Give her more of a... Or are they trying to go more the Spider-Man sort of gimmick? You know, he got bitten by a spider. Suddenly he's got all these spider powers.
No, I don't think they're doing that. I'll just cut that off. No, I don't think they're doing that.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I can imagine it.
Oh,
I don't think so.
Like Zane says, we need tranquilo with all this shit.
Yeah, tranquilo. Yeah, I guess.
Labrat, have the iguana eat the spider, bro.
Ooh, that's
cross-promotional. Money. Spider Woman 3. Mm-hmm. Oh, we'll get that eventually, 100%.
All right. Well, anyway, we also learn that not only is she a spider, she's a sore winner because she keeps on beating up poor Lady Frost until, of all people, Queen Aminata comes out to make the save. So, I guess a queen is too much for a spider at this time. So we'll revisit this shortly because we get promised a big announcement from Tony Khan, and then we go to break, and then when we come back from break, we get Queen Aminata, and she's saying what people do to spiders in Africa. They stomp on them. So she challenges Thekla to a match and says, we'll see who gets stomped on. Okay, very good. Now Tony Schiavone gives us the announcement, the other Tony. So Tony announces for Tony the big announcement, which is Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada at All In. There's only one problem with this announcement. It was blatant that this was going to happen. It's not like we thought it wouldn't happen. So this is not that big of a surprise for you to even mention. But I guess they felt that based on past history that they needed to announce it like this and give it some gravity. Not Bandito's brother gravity, but, you know, like importance.
You know, I missed that. I went for a piss break during that point, right? So there you go. That's why I asked you legitly about it before. And here you are. You just told me. So they actually announced it. But do you know what? Now that I think about it.
Yeah, Tony stood up from the desk with the microphone and announced it to the house. Yeah.
Wow.
That this was a special announcement from Tony Khan.
Wow.
So like I said, I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's going to be a good match, but like...
Wrong place, you think? It should be a main event, bro.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want to bury this onto a card that's already going to have a bunch of matches that go long. So that means either you're going to go long too and everybody's going to not care, or you're going to, you know... Yeah, these guys did like a no time limit 2 out of 3 falls match once. Facts. So... having another 20-something minute match is not really gonna. It's not gonna mean as much, but like
they need an hour, bro. They need an hour. These two, and you know what's cool? The thing about them two, before everyone freaks out, they will put on a sick match, even if they have an hour to do it. It'll be right. Off the rails, man.
Right? Yeah. You just, no matter what, you don't want to do that for them. You don't want to do that for the other matches on the card. You don't want to do that for the people in the building. Like All In's going to be like 6 hours without the 90 minutes.
I dare say 8 hours maybe.
Yeah.
We're all in on time, bro.
So we'll see. Whatever. It's fine. And then our main event. This is the best news. Remember, I said I had my own surprise. Yeah. Jimmy. It shouldn't be a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise. But I do have my own special announcement. Are you ready?
I said, I'm ready.
Yeah. I told this match to suck it because this match is the Don Callis Family versus, and it's the worst version too. We're talking RPG Vice and Lance Archer.
Right.
Versus Garcia, which is the Paragon and Daniel Garcia. And you know what that means? Because if you guys remember, I have a rule where I disavow any match that has a kendo stick in it, but also there's a new disavowed rule that came up recently in the past couple years, which is if Daniel Garcia main events a program, I disavow the match. So I don't know what happened. As far as I'm concerned, the show is over after they announced Omega and Okada. That was the main event. So what happened?
He literally... Why do you have to do this to me, man? Because you know how I feel about six-man
Just tell me the finish, bro. That's all you got to do.
The finish unfolded actually pretty dramatically, Vet, because as Cole attempted another Panama Sunrise, and I'm just saying because he did one before on Alexander for a near fall, he attempts one on Trent Beretta, who countered, but however, amid a chaotic exchange, Cole regained momentum, hitting Rocky Romero with the boom knee strike to secure the pinfall victory for his team, Vet.
The boom! My God. Who do you want to give credit to for that write-up?
Me. How's that?
It didn't sound like you.
No, that was... I'm not going to give credit, but that's what happened, man. That's exactly how the match finished. And for me, I told you, I hate these main events, dude. I'm sick of... I don't know what it is when it comes to Collision and their stupid six-man tag main event. Why do they continuously do this to me, bro? I check out in this match because when you said you checked out, I was done. Like the second I saw that main event, I was like, I can't watch this shit. Like, come on, man, just give me a normal one-on-one match so I can sort of be into it. I can't, bro. So I don't blame you for doing that. Like, you know, checking
it's
out
a rule.
Because
I have to follow my own rule. If I break my own rule, like the whole universe goes into chaos. I can't have that.
Right. And like Labrat says, six-man tag is the closest thing to an identity this show has. I know.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it is what it is.
And that's why they didn't do this on actual Saturday, because they knew that they had Worlds Collide going on. So we're going to be all up to here with six-man tags.
Yeah, but...
You know what's funny, too?
What?
You know what's great? We're watching Worlds Collide, and they do that opening match, and Conan's, like, already trying to get ahead of people and having hypothetical arguments saying, this is not American-style wrestling, this is Lucha Libre, it's a, you know, whatever, right? And the first thing they do in this match is, like, they do legal tags from the apron. It's just like... God, I love this business. I'm excited to be a part of it.
I've watched bits and pieces of when Worlds Collide, but I was planning on watching it like now, actually, properly. And apparently, Conan, a lot of people were saying Conan sucked on commentary. A lot of people said he was really good. I haven't really heard him properly to judge. But how do you feel? Do you think he was pretty good on the mic? It was surprising that he was even there to commentate.
It was fine. It was Conan, you know, like it was, but it's just, you know, like it's not something he normally does. So put it that way.
Which is interesting. The fact that it was him and Graves, wasn't it? I believe.
Yeah. And Graves was working his ass off like he always
I heard
does.
He killed it, man. Apparently he was really good.
But essentially, you have two color guys out there. So Graves is having to do the play-by-play portion of it and kind of carry the thing. And that's all that it should be. Like, and Conan should just chime in with his one-liners or his little history, even though Corey Graves was up on stuff to the point that, like, Conan had such a relaxed attitude out there that when Corey Graves would say something, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm surprised you know that." Like,
really? Oh God!
Like, dude, you're on commentary. This isn't a casual podcast, man. You can't just talk like that. That's the same thing JR would do. JR would do commentary lately, like he's on a podcast and just casually talking about this shit and exposing the business. So, like, you got to get out of that mindset. Like, if I was to do, first of all, I don't think I'm good on commentary, but if I was to do it, I'm not going to do it the same way I do this show.
I was going to say to you,
I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
Would you shit on it? Like, would you try not to? You try so hard not to shit on certain things. I think.
No, I would do my job the same way I always do any job I have. I do my job, and if I can say something funny that doesn't come at the expense of something that we're trying to get over, I can still be funny without burying something. Like, I bury stuff here all the time because who cares? But if I was working for a company, I would try to get my jokes in, but I'd make the joke funny for anybody, not to make fun of a wrestler or something like that. I wouldn't want to do that because I wouldn't want somebody to do it to me. So
that'd be the worst. Yeah. I could imagine the feeling. No, I totally understand. Plus, you wouldn't do that working for a company. Obviously, you just bury your own shit.
Well, I mean, some people do.
Yeah, look, there's exceptions.
All these guys go into business for themselves at some point because again, we're just, I guess somebody put out a memo like a couple decades ago that we don't have to take the business seriously anymore. So fuck it. But
well, that was your 4-hour extravaganza of a Fyter Fest. It sure was a Fyter Fest, I think. But that's all right because next week, Vet, we've got more gimmick dynamites and shit and collisions. What is it?
Sweet. Summer break-in or whatever. I don't know.
Summer break into a house or something.
Summer break-in with our featured match with Swerve Strickland taking on Will Ospreay.
Would it be a beach rules match or something like that? Well, I don't know what that involves.
I don't know, Will, but make sure you get extra security for your stepkid.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Not really, but you know what? I am sort of. Summer blockbuster geeks. Yeah.
See, Zane can insult us, and I don't get offended because he's trolling. So he doesn't really mean it. He obviously loves us. He's here. He's the number 3 commenter. He never misses a show. So his actions speak louder than his words. If anybody else called me a geek, I might be a little bit hurt.
Was he really calling us geeks? No, I don't know if he was, if he meant it that way. But then again, no one knew he probably was.
Cool. He thinks he's cool.
You're right.
You got us, Zane. Got him. Ha ha. Roasted. We are roasted, Jimmy.
Oh, man. Don't get me started on Zane.
Yep.
Don't even get... No, it's all good, Zane. Keep being you, man. Liz says, isn't his wife and stepkid in the UK? That'd be one heck of a break-in.
Well, Swerve's crazy. He drank a man's blood.
Yeah.
I'm sure he could take an international flight.
Cobblers says, "Give me beach blast in Phoenix, Arizona, pal or pal."
He must be doing voice to text. All right. Well, anyway, we've done enough voice to air for all of you guys. 2 hours. We brought it in half the time of Fyter Fest, so you're welcome.
Oh boy.
I guess we should let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, the fleeting bits of your weekend. And I guess we'll tell you where you can find us. I'll start at
Please.
Opinion Haver everywhere for me. Check out Impact Attack tomorrow night as we record this, Monday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern with Brandon, where we're going to talk about TNA, Impact, and friggin' whatever that shit Against All Odds was.
You were harsh on it last week on the Impact Attack.
Oh boy. I can't wait.
Just saying.
Let me tell you something, brother. Then on Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, Big Ray Hernandez and I will break down NXT for the Next Level Wrestling review. We'll probably talk a little Worlds Collide because there was some that's the worlds that was colliding. It was sort of NXT / WWE versus AAA, and even though Vikingo retained, WWE still won 3-2 technically. So of course the WWE just had to get over. Even though Vikingo's riding high on their shoulders at the end of the show, they still technically lost the overall. Whatever. It's fucking WWE. Can't even put them over a little bit, even though they own them. Can't play chess against yourself, Jimmy. That's why I always say that. That's a saying that I invented a long time ago. You can't play chess against yourself because eventually you have to let yourself win.
And that's WWE in a nutshell, literally.
Yep. All right, so the rest of it is check out Wrestling with Rogers every Friday, Concrete. Check out Stevie Richards every Friday, whatever time. Check out Limpin' Ain't Easy every Wednesday. And that's it for me. What about you, Jimmy?
Wow, that was quick. Had to keep up. Well, with me, of course, Tuesday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern. I like a Raw with me and Big Ray Hernandez. Look out for today, sometime today, probably around 4:30 mark. We are doing a Money in the Bank review show with myself, MSG, RBV. If you're joining us, join us too, of course. But that's when MSG finishes work. So 4:30 p.m. today in the afternoon. Look out for that. And and of course the Wreckage every week right here. Same bat channel, same bat time on the Home Media Group's YouTube channel at 11 a.m. Eastern. With myself and the best in the world at everything he does, it seems, the vet, Jamie Williams. But in saying that, you have been listening and watching The
Wreckage
live right here on Humming Media Group's YouTube channel and, of course, channelattitude.com. After the fact, we thank you all for joining us. And, again, it's a pleasure doing it for you guys, man, and we'll continue doing so. But till next time, goodbye and peace out to all of y'all, and we'll see you soon. See yous.